Hello and welcome to the fourth part of this Take Control of Your Colour video tutorial. In the last part we looked at how to use the tone curve to really adjust the tones within the image. So we've drawn out loads of contrast and detail from the rocks, a little bit more information from the clouds. Now what we're going to do before we move into Photoshop itself is just to do a little bit of selective colour enhancement. So we're really going to draw out some of the colours from the rocks and also from the sky. So just going to add a little bit more orange to that sky, give it a little bit more evening sunset impact. So if we click on our Hsl Grayscale tab, and here we have a whole series of colour adjustments that we can make to our image. Now as default it'll be on hue. I want to leave that alone, but that basically enables us to take a look at some colours and then start to make adjustments. Then we've got our saturation, which enables us to saturate certain colour elements within the picture. And finally our luminance, which enables us to lighten or darken certain colours within the picture. So we're going to start off first of all with saturation. And if I just drag my pipette around, I'm just going to check I've got the colour sampler rather than the white balance tool selected. And as I drag around, I can see that the sky here has quite a heavy content of red. And we can see that here in the information. It says my red here is 235, my green is 160, and my blue is 140. So I really know that I want to start adjusting my reds, my oranges, and my yellows to really boost the sky. A little bit obvious, but it's just nice to have the information picker just to really sort of see that. So saturation of my reds I'm just going to take up, and we just see that sky warming up. Again we'll do the same with the orange, and we can really see the effect the orange is having, and same with the yellow, and we can just see that over on the right hand side. Okay, so we've made those few adjustments to the saturation, really helped to boost the sky, and now we're ready to make our final adjustments within Photoshop itself. So basically what we've done is made our raw adjustments to give ourselves the best possible image to open up within Photoshop. But before we do that, we're going to click back onto the Basics tab, and as we zoom into the picture, just by going Control or Option plus, hold down spacebar just to move around, we can just see that we've got a few dust patches that are appearing on our image. So we want to just get rid of those before we open up the image. So if we go to our retouch tool, click once, just need to reduce that, and we can reduce the size of the retouch tool just by using the left and right bracket tools. As soon as we click, it'll create this red and green circle. And as we use the square bracket tools to either make those circles smaller or larger, we can see this green one, we can just left click and we can pick our sample area. And there we can see that we have managed to get rid of that dust spot very quickly just using the retouch tool. So again, I'm just going to move around the image, see if I can see any more dust or scratches. And again, there's one just here. And as before, just click on each of these just to pick where the dust is, and then you can use the green one and just shift it around into place just to take its new sample. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now to open that in Photoshop, all I have to do is click Open Image, and all of those changes will be applied directly to that picture. Okay, there we have our raw adjusted image. And now we can really start to work with the layers just to fully enhance the picture. So first thing we want to do is just open up our layers. We're going to duplicate our background layer. So just left click on that and drag and drop that onto the new layer icon. Then we're going to create a levels adjustment layer just to check on the light and the histogram, and we see that's looking really quite nice. Just adjust those highlights slightly. And now what we want to do is just to use our dodge and burn tools to really make the most of our image. So if we click on our background copy layer, just select first of all our burn tool, and what we want to do is just to burn in a few of the shadow areas around in this sea. And we're also going to do very similar for the sky as well, just to make it a little bit more threatening. So if I just put my layers back there, and now what I want to do is just making sure that I've got very low opacity on my brush, just drag it over the sea area, and likewise I want to just start to do the same over the sky, and you can really see how it's pulling out a lot of that cloud detail. Now at the moment I've got exposure of 5%, and you can really see the effect that that has on our image. What you've also got to make sure that you're doing as you're doing this is just really pay attention to the light and where the light's falling. And by doing this you can actually start to sort of draw paths within the picture, which will just help to draw focus when you're actually processing the whole image. So here we can see the shadow that is falling onto the sea caused by the clouds, and we really want to just pull that out and really make something of it. And you can see that as well just here in the rock where the water's a little bit calmer. And so just use that burn tool to really sort of pull in the sky into the sea and sort of really reflect the sort of impact of those really dark clouds. And again you've got quite a few clouds there which you can pull out a little bit just by burning in a few of those shadow areas. Once you're happy with that, switch over to your dodge tool, and now what we're going to do is something very similar but just with the highlights. Again, make sure that your exposure is set to 5% and you have your highlights selected in your range. And now we're just going to do exactly the same and just make sure that we just rub over the image just to draw out some of those highlights. And also here on the rock we can really start to make something of the detail in the rock just by sort of dragging over and really sort of using that dodge tool to pull out those highlight detail. Okay, there we have it. I've done quite a bit of dodge and burn there just to really draw out the detail of the rocks, and if I take a quick look at that before the dodging then afterwards, and you can really see how the impact of the image has increased. So there is how to take control of colour using Adobe Camera Raw and then just finishing it off with a little bit of dodge and burn within Photoshop itself.